Well, that race was definitely something, that's for sure. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Daytona Road Course race that just completed from the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. This was the second race of the season and the first of 7 road course races that really took place today. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what happened throughout the race and go through the results and talk about some of the outcomes of the race. And there definitely was some controversy that happened in this race. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. At the start of the race, Chase Elliott and Michael McDowell were on the front row. At the start of the race, Michael McDowell going into turn number 1, he would end up overshooting the corner. It seemed like he had a flat tire even before the green flag dropped, and when he locked up the tire, it seemed like the tire went down. As that was going on, Kyle Busch also got some damage, and he ended up having a tire go down as well in this race. And the first caution of this race would come out for Michael McDowell's tire carcass on the racetrack. He would eventually bounce back in this race. Michael McDowell would have to bounce back throughout because he had some issues at the beginning of this race. And then we go racing for quite some time. And then the next caution race would be debris once again. There was a lot of tire issues in the early stages of this race. Brad Keselowski had a very interesting day. He would end up locking tires up going into the area where you're supposed to go into the chicane coming down the front stretch. He would end up locking the tires and coming down pit road. And Matt DiBenedetto, apparently he's missing his left rear quarter panel, and he would have to come down pit road, and that would be where the caution would come out. And then we would get some pretty good racing at that point at the beginning of the restart. But then Chase Elliott, who down in the early portion was able to get back up to the front and pass some of those guys who decided to stay out in this race. There were some guys that decided to stay out, and Chase Elliott would be able to go out there and win stage 1 in this race. And then we go back racing around lap number 20 in this race, and we see some pretty good racing overall. Chase Elliott once again be the race leader of this event, but he would have some challenges from guys like Mark Truex Jr., and there was also some more tire lockup in this race. And then basically be green flag from there on out for the majority of it. And then on lap 28 of this race, about halfway through the stage, the next caution would come out for some contact between Ryan Blaney and Ross Chastain. It seemed like Ross Chastain may have gotten loose a little bit. Ryan Blaney also got into him a little bit very slightly, and it would turn Ross Chastain out into the outside wall, and that would take him out of contention in this race. And then we go back racing on lap 30 in this race, and we see some pretty strong racing overall. Some guys decided to come down pit road. That included Kurt Busch in this race. Well, actually not Kurt Busch. That would include a couple other drivers. And then Denny Hamlin was able to get the race lead while some other drivers had some issues. Denny Hamlin passed AJ Allmendinger for the race lead, and he come off the final corner, and he would go out and win stage 2 in this race. And then we would go back racing on lap 38 of this race, and then we go green for about the next 90 laps, and we saw some pretty good green flag racing throughout. We saw some really good battles overall. We actually watched Chase Elliott come up through because he had a really bad pit stop, and I think there are also some uncontrolled tires early in the race as well. But Chase Elliott was really, really fun to watch because he was one of the guys that was having to come back up to the front after he had issues, but he was able to get back to the front. But he and Christopher Bell were having a really strong battle. Chase Elliott was starting to pull away, but then as the race went on, I guess Chase Elliott used up his brakes and his tires. Christopher Bell, the only guy that seemed like he could have anything for Chase Elliott in this race, he was starting to catch Chase Elliott in the race. And then green flag pit stops happened, and I thought that we were going to have a shootout because Chase Elliott had a fantastic pit stop, and Christopher Bell, he ended up losing 2 seconds on pit road. Well, unfortunately for them, a caution would come out for manipulation in rain. Now, rain apparently came at the racetrack, but it was only raining in 2 corners, and then it stopped. And then NASCAR decides, let's go ahead and manipulate the outcome of this race and throw a caution. Like, we need to manipulate the outcome of this race. Instead of having a really good battle for the win between Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott, naturally, NASCAR decides to throw a caution. And because of this, a bunch of cars decided to stay out at the end of this race, like Logano, Kurt Busch, who had issues because he got dumped in the portion of that race from Brad Keselowski. Well, Kurt Busch, he went in the grass. And then he had some contact on Brad Keselowski. Keselowski was up there, and all 4 Rick Ware racing cars, they all decided to stay out as well in this race. And then we went back racing with about 12 or 13 laps to go in this race specifically. And there were some issues overall on the restart. There would be some contact between Chase Elliott on the restart. I think a couple guys overdrove the corner. I think there was 4 or 5 guys that ended up going over in the corner. Then Chase Elliott would get shoved out into the grass from Corey LaJoie, and he was to keep going straight. That was really impressive to watch. Chase Elliott was an absolute wheel man. He kept going into the grass, and he had no issues, and he kept driving it. Meanwhile, right behind him, Tyler Reddick, he's basically on fire. He caught it on fire. I think he got in the grass, hit a sign, and the car basically went on fire, and NASCAR would throw the caution with around 10 laps to go in this race. And then we go back racing once again, and there was more contact that took place. Mark Truex Jr. would actually wheel hop on that ensuing restart. He would spin, taking out a bunch of cars. And then Chase said apparently he got into Corey LaJoie. Apparently Chase had nowhere to go. He took Corey LaJoie out. And that would bring out the final caution in this race with around about 10 laps to go in the race. And then we'd have a final shootout with around 8 laps to go in the race. And it looked like it was going to be easy for it looked like Kyle Larson had the freshest tires at the time, was going to get back up to the front. But then he, while trying to challenge Kurt Busch on the ensuing race start with 8 laps to go, he would overdrive the corner, spin out, and he'd get into the outside wall. Then Kurt Busch was holding up Christopher Bell. He got into the back of Kurt Busch, who was really blocking for whatever reason. Kurt Busch was really, really aggressive in this race and an absolute wheel madman in this race. And then he had issues throughout the dang thing. And then Chase Elliott, meanwhile, he's trying to get around Brad Keselowski, and Brad's holding him up. And Denny Hamlin basically uses and jacks him up. And then that ends up happening, and Chase Elliott ends up spinning, the guy that dominated the race, and he ends up getting screwed over because Denny Hamlin runs into the back of him. And then meanwhile, a lap or two earlier, Kyle Busch is having issues. He gets spun, and NASCAR decides to not throw the caution. And then the final few laps, actually, I think, in my opinion, are really, really good. Christopher Bell has fresh tires, is trying to catch Joey Logano, who has really old tires. He is running him down. With around 3 or 4 laps to go, he catches Joey Logano. Christopher Bell does. The final 2-3 laps was really, really awesome. He gets to the back bumper. He's battling. Logano's trying to block. There's contact in the backstretch. As they come into turn number 3 on the Daytona, regular Daytona oval track, he goes to the inside and makes the pass on Joey Logano. Logano's trying to come back on the last lap, but there really was nothing that Joey Logano could do at the end of this race. Christopher Bell comes off the final corner. The caution is able to come out because apparently there were some issues with William Byron and other cars that were wrecking, spinning at the end of this race. And also Bubba Wallace spinning a few laps ago prior to this. Coming off the final corner, though, Christopher Bell holds off Joey Logano and wins his first career NASCAR Cup Series race. And by the way, this is the second straight race where we've had a first-time winner. I'll be honest, I was very surprised that Christopher Bell won this race. I didn't think he'd be a contender in the dang thing. But Christopher Bell scores his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory at the Daytona Road Course. Man, definitely a lot to talk about. First of all, I want to say huge congratulations to Christopher Bell on winning today's race, but that end of the race is absolutely really, really stupid regardless. So let's go ahead and talk about this results of this race. So Christopher Bell wins his first career race here at Daytona, and he's locked into the playoffs as well. Joey Logano finished his second in the race. Strong run for Joey Logano. Third place goes to Denny Hamlin. I think Denny Hamlin had the third or fourth best car most of the majority of this race, but he didn't have anything for one of the guys who got screwed over at the end of the race. He finished his third. Kurt Busch comes back and bounces back and finishes fourth in this race after going into the grass and getting into Brad Keselowski. He finished his fourth. Strong for him. And Brad Keselowski, after spinning out, he ends up finishing fifth after a very adventurous day. Brad Keselowski bounces back and finishes fifth. Great job for him. Kevin Harvick, I thought was going to struggle today. He finished his sixth. He kept it really clean, ran the top 10 the majority of the day. Great job for Kevin Harvick. AJ Allmendinger finished the seventh. He had a pass. I think he had to come back down pit road or had to go to tail end because he had a penalty for going too fast on pit road at one of these cautions. He finished his seventh in the race. Eighth place goes to Michael McDowell. Really strong bounce back after he had a flat tire. He comes back and finishes eighth. He's had a really good start. And the first time he's ever had 2 straight top 10 finishes. Great job for Michael McDowell. Ninth place goes to Ryan Preece. Solid season for him. And Alex Bowman, who's really not fast all day. He comes home with a 10th place finish. 11th place goes to Chris Buescher. Mark Truex Jr. after spinning out, he bounces back to a 12th place finish. 13th place goes to Cole Custer. 14th place, Eric Jones. 15th place goes to Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney struggled all day long. I thought he'd be a lot better, but he struggled today. Daniel Suarez finishes 16th. 17th place goes to Eric Almirola. 18th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th place goes to Ty Dillon. Strong run for Ty Dillon for the Gaunt Brothers Racing Organization. And 20th place in this race goes to Ryan Newman. Chase Elliott, who had the best car in this race, who got screwed because NASCAR wanted to be manipulative, he finishes 21st in this race. Anthony Alfredo finishes 22nd. James Davison finishes 23rd. 24th place goes to Justin Haley. 25th place goes to Cody Ware. 26th goes to Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace had a really bad day. I think he had a tire go down. I think he locked tires up quite a bit. And then he had a very bad race overall, but finishes 26th. Garrett Simply finishes 27th. 28th place goes to Scott Heckert. I thought he'd do a little better, but not a great day for him. 28th place goes to Tim Hill. And Kyle Larson, after having a really strong day and wrecking at the end, he finishes 30th. Corey LaJoie finishes 31st. 32nd goes to Chase Briscoe. 33rd goes to William Byron. 34th place goes over to Austin Dillon. 35th place goes to Kyle Busch after he had issues at the end of the race. 36th place goes to Josh Lickey. 37th, Matt DiBenedetto. He finished outside the racetrack. Tyler Reddick finishes 38th. 39th place goes to Ross Chastain. And Quinn Houff finishes last in 40th in this race. And now we're going to talk about my score of the race and talk about some of the ridiculous stuff and get out of here. I got a lot to say right now. In my personal opinion, this race was playing out really good. I would have given this race probably an 8 or even a 9 because the race is actually going it was really almost as good as the Xfinity Series race. But the race score goes a lot lower because NASCAR wanted to play manipulation to try to make the race more entertaining than it was. In my personal opinion, the race is playing out well. I think the best car of the race, which is Chase Elliott, did not have a shot to win the race because NASCAR wanted to play manipulation and they screwed Chase Elliott over, in my opinion. So you can't come out here and say that he's NASCAR's golden boy anymore because he did this. I feel bad for Chase Elliott. He said he made a lot of mistakes, but in reality, Chase Elliott should never have been put in that position because NASCAR wanted to play manipulation in this race because they wanted to try something new. I mean, Larry McReynolds and Jeff Gordon were really playing jokes in NASCAR, and there were a lot of fans on Twitter and other sources that are really pissed off with NASCAR, and I really don't blame them because it was absolutely ridiculous and NASCAR wanted to manipulate the outcome of the race. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I think NASCAR should be ashamed of themselves and should be embarrassed by some of the actions of the day. Regardless, we saw a pretty good finish overall, and before that, would have given this race 8 or 9. I'm going to give today's race a 6 out of, well, actually, I'm going to give this race a 7 out of 10. If you take away the manipulation, it's a really good race overall, but because of all the manipulation and trying to screw the race for more entertainment factor, the race today goes a 7 out of 10. That is my score for tonight's race. By the way, once again, huge congratulations to Christopher Bell on winning his first career race. I'm really happy for him. I think he had the second best car overall. And next week, we're headed out to Homestead Miami Speedway for the first time on the 1.5 mile racetracks. Will we see another first-time winner, maybe like a Tyler Reddick winning, or maybe we'll see someone like an experienced race car driver go out and win next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Who knows? And watch there be weather again on the racetrack because we can't have nice things, and we'll probably see rain and thunderstorms all over because we go to Oval and there's no rain. We get a lot of rain. Don't ask for rain and we get rain. It's sunny. We go down to here, and we wanted rain, and we got a little bit of rain, but really not that much. So the score for today's race is a 7 out of 10. So anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR race review from the Daytona Road Course. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Links description below for that. And comment with your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts on tonight's race? Let me know in the comments below what score you would give the race. Do you think NASCAR should not throw in the caution for that? And do you think they should have kept the race green overall at the end of the race and seen a great battle? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's race review at the Daytona Road Course. We'll be back to the normal content this week. We'll talk about all the NASCAR news that comes on the channel. And next week, we're headed to Homestead Miami Speedway for the third race of the season. Anyway, like I said, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.